What it do, what it does, what it doesn't. Ooh, it's like Super Saiyan going here. Yeah. Power up. All right, so little other friend. There we go. Kind of sort. All right. Just kind of wanted to do a random chat. Down in Florida this weekend. Listen. Y'all know. I had to go to my spots. In Florida, in South Florida. Fireman Derrick's in Wynwood, Miami, or Wynwood area of Miami. A great place. It's off of take I-95 all the way south to 195 east, and then get off on Miami Ave, which I think is like Northwest 2nd or something like that. And yeah, Fireman Derrick's in the Wynwood area, and you go south off of on Miami Ave. Really nice. These are the guava. I don't know if I can show you the guava. And these are the guava white chocolate cookies. Amazing. Too much light. Amazing. And then, they got the brownie bomb and all types of other stuff. But yeah, if you guys go down to Florida, check out Fireman Derrick's bake shop down there. Amazing. They got a new location. But parking sucks. It's freaking Miami. So like parking pretty much tells you to eat a dick. So I freaking hate parking down there. But it was kind of in and out for me. I was able to get in and out and didn't have to pay for parking or go through that, downloading the app and all types of other stuff. So that was good. I'm editing a picture right now. Yeah, kind of just a little bit of randomness, this weekend wasn't too bad. What's it called? Weekend wasn't too bad, so now just getting back into things. So now I'm looking at steel metal buildings. So I just got a call from the rep, and he is going to put in a couple things for me. And yeah, I'm going to be getting my steel metal building pretty soon. I'm probably going to go in tomorrow, talk to him about it, and hopefully get this sucker ordered. Let's go ahead and save that. I don't know how I want to show you guys these images here, because I kind of want to show multiple, but hold on. Let me move some things around here. Give me a segundo, mi amigo. I'm trying to do my little TLA deal, but he actually knows Spanish. I do not. Oh yeah, man. But everything's been going fairly well, I think. Essentially, even at work, my day job, I got my one of my first full checks just the other day, and that was nice. Still got money left over. I still have bills to pay too, so I probably don't have money really left over. But essentially, I'm able to pay all my bills in one check, so that's really cool. Like it's like mortgage, all expenses and everything, all in one check. And I wouldn't say frugally, or frugal, but not above my means per se. And the reason I say that is because this things are gonna be changing. Like I ordered a new truck, and that truck is like 80 grand, or 85 grand, and then this steel metal building. So I'll be back to having to use two checks to pay my expenses. So and then of course I'll still be able to make investments as well. And the building, the utility of the building, and the reason why I want to go ahead and get it, of course, is because I want a bigger workshop, and then also to do some more stuff with guns and everything else like that. And it's going to be a lot better in the spring and summertime. Winter, oh God, it's going to suck. But I'll build that out over time in terms of filling that in and stuff like that. Let me get these images queued up here. Let's cut these out of here. In terms of programming too, did I put a video out for that? There should be another video being uploaded right now about reclaiming emotions And just like, you know, we as men, now we're starting to see like where we have like we're reclaiming choice, right? Like people always think that we as men we have like all the choices in the world. Well, a lot of times that we don't have a choice because we have to we care about other people, and we have to consider other people's feelings before our own. And that is a level of that's the level of responsibilities that usually we have to deal with as men, or we have to accept as men. Deal with sometimes has a negative connotation. So whatever adjective you want to use. I keep on looking over here because that's just where the camera is. I need to stop doing that because you guys can just see the full frontal of all this here. Okay, now I'm looking in the camera. I was like looking down before. But you know, everybody thinks that we have this level of we can do anything because we're men, and it's just not true. There's a lot of things that we don't do because we have our responsibilities, and of course that's, you know, the men that actually do care about that type of stuff. There's some men that just don't care, and they, you know, it's blatant disregard. They don't give a flying fudge about anything that anyone does, or anyone excuse me, requires of them, or needs, or anything else like that. So that happens, you know. And you know, people just think we as men, we just have, you know, all these options laid before us. And yes, as human beings, free will, we have free will, and as human beings, we have the option to do whatever we need, do whatever we actually want to. But how many of those options are really available to us without, like, you know, negative connotations? Because there are negative connotations to those choices. All right, I need to look over here so I can share. All right, so screen one. Oh, I do want to freaking. Sometimes, man, like I have to use, you know, a quote unquote clean browser so you guys don't see like all of my my bad sites. I was like doing the last stream, and I'm like typing in something, and I'm like, yo, why is that bookmark coming up? It's like freaking X videos bookmark and shit. And I'm like, oh God, they're gonna know that I'm a depraved, a sexual deviant of sorts. Oh my God. I don't really give a fuck. It's not like it was anything crazy, but it was funny because I was looking at it, I was like, why the hell is that showing up? And it's like, oh, well, that's a lie. Mike, they're gonna find out you're a little bit freaky. But I don't really care, man. It is what it is. All right, so first over here. So, steel metal building. Let's first look at the site, man. So this is my property, or a piece of my property, a little cross section of it. Actually, no, yeah, this is the whole thing up here. So this is the whole bit of, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, a square image of it. But that's the property there, and then in this section here, I want a building, and that building is going to be 80 feet long total. 60 feet of that is going to be enclosed. Ooh. Oh, wait. Damn it. I'm not sharing anything. Anti-gravity, what's up, brother? Nah, I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for showing up. I hope everything's good with you guys, man. Yeah, I was on Black Brain Trust the other day, bro. So trying to like kind of not make rounds, but like get back out there a little bit, talk to more people and stuff like that. I was blessed to actually get another brother in the space. I don't know if he wants me to say anything about it. I don't think he really hides it, but he wanted to schedule me for something this past weekend, but I was out of town, so I couldn't do it. But you know, just trying to talk more tech stuff in this manosphere space and stuff like that. So, but yeah, anti-gravity, man. I hope everything's good. All right, so oh shoot, I never checked out. Give me a sec. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good. Professional Black Ops, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for showing up, man, and saluting. Thanks for the engagement. Thanks for guys, you know, thanks for the likes and the comments. I've been getting more comments, been getting a lot more shares and stuff like that, which is really cool, man. So I appreciate you guys putting me out there. And I'm here for the people and here for the people in the community. I won't say his name, but I'll just talk about the experience. A brother did call me, and I tried to help him as best as I can in terms of some of the things that in terms of decision making and stuff like that. And that was a real like powerful, humbling thing, being able to help other brothers in the community, and to even say, hey, listen, Mike, or to even say, I'm the person you actually want to listen to about that type of stuff. I'm proud. And I try not to steer people in the wrong direction, and I try to give them the best advice with the information that they've given me. So I appreciate, I appreciate people that appreciate me, and I mean that in the way of like, you ask me for my advice, I'm going to try and give you or pour into you as much knowledge as I can about a certain situation, and possibly why I would make that decision in your for what's it called, in your situation. So I appreciate that. Yeah, man, been busy. Heard you busy too. Yeah, going crazy, bro. Like, I got a new job. I still got to go do some stuff for it here today. It was a slow day today, and it was a slow day last week. But I've been putting in like some 12-hour days and stuff like that. So I want to watch the new Spider-Man movie. I didn't get to watch that this weekend. The cards didn't play out right with that. But I did want to. I haven't watched the last Spider-Man movie, so actually it worked out good that I didn't get to watch the movie this weekend. So I'm gonna watch the last Spider-Man movie, Far From Home. I'm gonna watch that here in a little bit. I'm gonna rent it on. I'm gonna rent it on YouTube. It is your time. Yeah, man. I think I know what you're talking about. Sometimes, like, you guys will like send the messages and stuff, and it'll just be out of sync with what I say. So I apologize for that. That's on me. But yeah, like, I think you're talking about like, helping other people and everything. And like, any way I can do that, I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form. So if you guys have questions, especially about tech and stuff like that, or even like, hey, Mike, what would you do if you had this in front of you? And that could be business, that could be any type of investment. It's not financial advice. It's just reasoning of what I would do in that situation. I'm not telling you what to do, but this is just how my outlook is on it. And then even personal things that you're willing to share. I want to help brothers as best as possible in this space, because, and not just because it's like, the lack of father figures or anything like that. A lot of brothers do have fathers, and but sometimes it's like it's a lack of multiple perspectives. Sometimes you do need an uncle. Sometimes you do need a cousin, or a brother, or a friend, because all those people are different age ranges usually, and they also have different levels of understanding and different connections to you. You don't talk to your brother like you would talk to your daddy, or anybody else, or your uncle, or anything else like that. So it's important that you talk to many people, because it's different perspective on things. I was talking to Grinch last night, chopping it up with him, and then just talking about the perspectives of how I look at things, and how he looks at things. I'm not afraid to say, like, listen, I've tricked for a long period of time in my life in terms of with women. And one thing that was like kind of funny, because like he has the Grinch, right? But then I was like, yeah, I have like a Mr. Hyde, if you will. And it was kind of funny the way I said it, because I was just like, I remember one time I was in Publix, and this chick, I was like, hey, I was trying to holler at her, and she was just like, hey, listen, man, if you're not talking money, you're not like, if you ain't talking about money, I don't want to talk. And I said, and like it was like a out of body, in body experience, because you were there, but you weren't there, because it wasn't what you would normally say, like me, Michael. And it was like another personality took over, and I said, I did it with like a very dark voice, and I was like, I am talking money. What's up? Like it wasn't like usually me and how I usually do things, and it was just crazy. And then saw it, next thing you know, like I'm knocking her off at the house and stuff like that. Gave her money, and she went on her way. And what was crazy about it is, I said I've been with more. I was having more relations with prostitutes than I was with actual girlfriends. And that shit was crazy when I like, boom, epiphany, had that in my head. And for me to be out here to say, okay, listen, I want kids and I want all these things. it was crazy for me to realize, yo, listen, I've been fucking more hoes than I have regular girlfriends, and I've had better, and even sometimes not better, but I wouldn't say better. I've had like relations with prostitutes more than I've had with like actual quote unquote regular girls, and I don't treat regular girls as hoes or anything like that. But it's just like, how can you separate those two things and actually like move through this world or this society? It's kind of crazy. Yeah, sometimes you need a guy who's businessman or tradesman or in IT, etc. Yeah, and that's true. Like having these people at different levels to talk about certain things. Um, was she looking for a sugar daddy? I thought that was just on YouTube. No, man. No, this was like, man, this was probably 20. This is probably close to 20. No, 2007, 2008. I was working consulting, and I was working for a consulting company. I was at a Publix near my house, and I remember, the only reason I remember that is because I was wearing my clothes, my work clothes, so I had the tucked in shirt and all this other stuff, right? And it was crazy. I saw her, and then you do the thing like where women nowadays would call it stalking, but like you go back in there, like you start, oh man, let me just go buy a bottle of water. Oh, and I'll run into her, that type of shit. Like, oh, you're on the same aisle as me? Cheez-Its. This is a great brand, isn't it? And it was just like I saw her and I was like, yo, what's up? Or like, hey, reproached her and talked to her and stuff like that. And then she hit me with like she was a hoe. And I was like, all right, cool. How much? Like, what's up? Like, you're not scaring me asking about money. And that really made me realize like the relations I have with women. And it actually is pretty funny because it's like, whoa, I can still have somewhat decent relationships with women. And this has been my prime experience with women, is just transactional prostitution, like back and forth. And I was even going into conversations where I was talking about how I'm hold on, let me get these questions, man. Anti-gravity. I know these chicks crazy, but never had a girl say that to me. Oh, bro. But when they're really like that, like she was about her money, and I wasn't the dude that she would just do off good GP or anything like that. She if I was to actually try and fuck, she would want money from me. So some women are like that, and that was back in like 2008, man. And I was in my mid-20s then. Yeah, like no, getting into late 20s. I was born 85. Yeah, getting late 20s. So when I said that to her, when she said that, like I think that was the first prostitute I was ever with, maybe. And it was funny because me and Grinch were talking about, it's like, hey, you never forget your first time. Like, I never forgot my first time with a real woman, or a real woman, with just a regular chick, which that was funny because I even videotaped that, so that was kind of funny. But it's just like all these interactions and playing back all this stuff, and then seeing where I am now in terms of my relationships with women and stuff like that, and even being drawn by, like, I'm off to the MGTOW flame, and how I look at things, and also how I process things, my emotions, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of crazy. So if I want to get my foot in the door with tech, where should I start? First start on YouTube. So one of the first things you have to do is ask yourself a question. One of the two things that, like, there's two paths when it comes to like tech. Either you're going to do it or you're going to manage the people that do it. Now, if you're going to do it, it'll take you a little bit longer sometimes to manage the people that do it, depending on the job. Now, and the reason why I say this and taking these two different paths is, like, if you're a person that does it, like a system admin or engineer or something like that, then you're going to want to go the certification route, right? Start getting your certs or so on and so forth. But if you're a person that wants to manage these people, that's where you need a degree. This is where you're going to need management degrees or even management type certifications, like your ITIL. I think it's like ITL or ITIL or ITIL 4. And then there's different parts of the ITIL 4, just like if you have a CCNA. So if you're a doer, you can just go with the certification track because you're like a tradesman in that case. But if you're a person that's going to manage other people, then it's best to get a degree. Now, I'm not a manager, only when I was like when I ran my computer consulting company. But I'm more of a doer. So I went the certification route, got out of school and everything like that, and just did certifications and ran my own company, and then managed other people, managed like not manage my business partners, but I was the lead on most projects. And then, I would spec out projects and things like that, work with them, and then work with them in terms of implementing it and then getting any feedback or other ideas and stuff like that. You'll see my brother Jermaine in here, my other brother Jamel. Those are like, talked to Jamel this weekend. Didn't get to see Jermaine this weekend when I went to Florida. I was kind of in and out. So yeah, it depends on if you're a doer or not or anything like that. And that's like that kind of the main thing that you want to focus on is either get your degree to manage people or get your certifications to do the work. Now, if you take the certification route and become a manager later, that's actually even better to me, because then you have the experience and the nuances, the minutia that goes into actually implementing a project or a product of some sort. So that's like a big thing for me personally. And then from there, then you just have to see what your affinity is. I think there's, and I'll move on from this, but there's so much in terms of knowledge resources that you can use. Freecodecamp.com, udemy.com, that has some cheap courses. And then other people on YouTube, you can ask me questions. You can go on CodePen and look at various code snippets. You can search so many different things. You can go to howtoforge.com, howtoforge, FORGE.com. And that was how I learned a lot about Linux and subsystems and things like that. And because they had a lot of like how to install a Linux operating system from scratch, and they're good about doing that. Like, they will write those articles continuously. Supporting the channel, Go Professor. Go Professor, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate what you do for me and other people in the space, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, bro. It's just, it's great that you guys come through even for a moment, even catching playbacks or anything like that. That engagement means a lot to me. And sometimes it just shows, one, the growth of the channel, and two, am I doing something right and stuff like that. So your feedback's important. So I appreciate that. But yeah, How to Forge, and then, how freecodecamp.com and the various other YouTube channels. Another person that you can actually look at is Brad Traversy. Brad Traversy. So that's Traversy, Traversy. He's good. Academind, ACADEMIND. I don't want to look him up right now and link him, because I usually do that in other streams all the time. This one kind of just loose with it. But those are the places that I usually go to and get a whole bunch of information. Fireship.io just reached 1 million viewers. Congrats to my brother Fireship. He's awesome, man. He does a lot of those whatever technology in 100 seconds. And he gives you like a brief overview of things and shows you like, oh, okay, learning async await callbacks and how classes work and how inheritance work and all types of other stuff. And he does a great job of that. Coder, if you're a front end person, so on and so forth. So you really you kind of have to get out there and just put your toe in the water, and see how far you can go. Oh, I'm going to share you on my Twitter, good sir, Gold Professor. Hey man, my Cash App is showing in the bottom. Anything that you guys give me, thank you so much. I promise it'll go to a what's it called? A stripper in need. But I appreciate anything you guys give me. But this knowledge is free and open source. If you guys ever want to look at some of my coding or anything like that, go to github.com/Tree Star Systems. That's Tree Star Systems, and not Jamaican tree, but like an actual, American tree or English tree. Yeah, but the Cash App is there, and that is $ Tree Star Systems. And I don't know if you want to share this stream, but previous streams maybe. Like this stream, I was just talking about prostitution, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, total randomness. But yeah, the conversation I had, just getting back on that, the conversation I had with Grinch and it was just kind of crazy. Not how I view women. I don't view them in like a bad light. I try to make it situational. You know, what you see is what you get in a lot of cases, but it was crazy, the realization that I had, and then also crazy some of the things that I hear from women on a regular basis in terms of you know, how they like how they deal with relationships, haven't had relationships in some cases, or don't even know how to deal with relationships, even with myself. And when you actually go through, you know, like MGTOW and stuff like that, and you start talking about it a little bit more, you start to see where you have this growth in you, and then your dealings with women in some cases would be better. And it's not to where you can, you know, you can get more than you're giving, but there's this level of reciprocity. And when you're not, when that feeling is not reciprocated, then you can start to see, okay, you're good and solid within yourself to the point where you're like, yeah, I wanted this, I didn't get it, and I'm okay with not being here any longer, or not letting this go on. The problem with we see with you know, the usual simps or beta male orbiters is that they're not getting what they want, but somehow, some way, they have it in their head that they need to keep doing this, and that causes a problem because if you don't get what you want, but the other person is, you know, then what is it for that other person to get? What does that other person need to change because they're getting what they want? You're not, you know. So, and that's very important where it comes into MGTOW, where you're not just understanding female behavior, but you're understanding your own behavior as well, which is way more important than anything else. And once you understand yourself better, then issues don't certain things that happen just won't be a problem for you any longer, you know, or as much. So it's very important when you do that mental work in yourself. And you know, we as men, like, supposedly, you know, they say we mature slower than women, and that's mainly for mating. You know, like, women mature physically faster, and they do that because, hey, listen, procreation, you know, making babies and stuff. So, but when it comes to men, we have to grow a little bit longer, and because a lot of the responsibility that's also put on us in some many ways as well. Mini monkhood, yeah, BGS, man, I appreciate you so much, mini monkhood, man. Yeah, and it's just like, I think it's so important because, yeah, when you're talking about even like monkhood, right? Like the monkhood type of stuff, and damn, it wouldn't. Hold on, man, BGS, if you want to come up, bro, I would appreciate it greatly. I don't know if you're still on, but definitely we could talk more about this type of stuff, man. But yeah, I only allow really BGS to come up. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep rambling. But yeah, so mini monkhood, and I think what we should be doing is, I just put up a video about this. It should be finished posting by now. But let's see. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, okay. Upload is complete, still processing. So it's about like reclaiming emotions. Like, we've already gone through reclaiming our the thought, or unlocking that we're reclaiming our choices, but now we need to start going towards reclaiming our emotions too. For far too long, we as men, and I literally just made this video a second ago, or a couple hours ago, but we as men, we've been put in positions where it's almost like we didn't have many choices. But or we as men, we've been told, you know, you can't cry, you can't do this, you can't feel, almost like as if we don't have any type of emotions of our own. And when you look at stuff like that, or when you have to deal with that on a regular basis, you really start to look at your feelings as negative. If you look in Jungian psychology, doing shadow work, your shadow's not a bad place per se. Excuse me. Your shadow's not a bad place per se, but it is a place where sometimes you dump things that you don't want to deal with on a regular basis in your conscious mind, or even in your subconscious. Like, it's just like a place that you like a trunk or a closet. So, you know, that whole the trope of coming out of the closet, or a trunk, like opening Pandora's box and everything comes out, the good and the bad. So you bought some new land or this Facebook metaverse land? No, man, this is my actual property, man, that I live on. I live in Southeast Georgia now, bro. Last time we talked really on panels and stuff, I was in South Florida. So, but yeah, I own 18 acres and a house up in Southeast Georgia, and this is the overview of my property. I was doing this stream about this steel metal building. I'm going to actually go in to try and order tomorrow, um, and start, doing the. Oh, why is this not working? Anyways, um, but yeah, I'll be putting this steel metal building in. It's going to be 80 feet long. But as I was saying, like, we've repressed our emotions to an extent where we're not even talking. Uh, yeah, you were in Florida, bro. What happened? Yeah, I COVID, man. Like, I bought this house back in October 2020, and I was able to get out here, and I bought this house for 219.5, put 6 grand down, so a 3% conventional loan, and it's 18.3 acres. I got a 3 acre lake in the front and a 1 acre pond in the back, and another creek that flows through the property. There's pieces of this property. There's 7 acres of this property I don't even know about. I see the tree line and that's it. I don't even do, like, hell no, I don't do none of that stuff. I don't even go in this forest area here. So there's parts of this property I haven't even seen. I've been here for over a year now. But yeah, man, I've been here for a while. These Latin chicks got to you? No, no, man. I only deal with black women, bro. That's all. That's all I deal with. I mean, but I guess I could change that up. I should probably change that up one of these days. VGS, man. How you doing, man? How you doing, sir, brother?
Oh, what's going on, young Grizzly? What's happening?
Oh, hold on. Let me
Can
probably
you hear
be
me?
okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Do you hear any
Okay,
feedback? Do you guys hear any feedback or anything like that? Because I got my.
just a little bit.
All right, let me. I'm gonna just lower it on my end, and I'll just have to listen carefully because it's just because I don't have headphones on
Okay,
this.
all right.
All right, is that
Oh, that's
better?
good. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, BGS, man. I just made a video, and thank you for joining this random stream. And as always, man, love you. Plain and simple, just love. Um, but uh, talking about taking back emotions to a certain
Hmm.
extent,
Yeah,
and moving on past, like we've worked on the programming, where we've unlocked the choice part where we're just making these choices where we're saying, hey, listen, I'm not making this choice for anybody else but myself,
right.
and I'm doing this unapologetically. And now moving on to, I'm gonna actually be true to my own emotions. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, first you have to get in contact with them because what are men not born in contact with their emotions? Because men always filter everything through their logic brain, so it takes to get in contact with your emotions takes a little longer, and
Hmm.
and then and then logically getting past your socialization and how you were brought up and all that kind of stuff is completely different than the emotional ties that are along with it because those still have a hold on you. And it's just like an alcoholic, right? You can logically know why you shouldn't drink, why you shouldn't be dependent on alcohol, why you shouldn't be around alcohol at all. But the thing is, how to get over it? You got to make a break
Yeah.
and actually breaking away from it and getting to know yourself.
And
And
sometimes that
go
break
ahead.
is, you can get that by your environment. COVID has
Mm,
caused that as well,
right, it
where
has.
you're stayed in the same place, but now you're thinking differently because
Yeah,
the distractions, the water cooler isn't there.
right, exactly, exactly. In other words, um, some of these things can become like a not like habits or addictions, and sometimes you need to go cold turkey. Because I was reading a couple of articles where a lot of guys are not as say addicted to sex or want sex the way they used to before COVID,
Mm.
and a lot of that is because they've had what they call gone through what they call not a full monkhood but a mini monkhood, where you've cut away, actually separated yourselves from relationships or female relationships.
Yeah, and
And
a lot of those relationships serve as distractions.
well, distractions is also the thing is also they're destructive and also
Ah,
they're
yeah.
destructive, and also they're emotionally and time consuming, right? In other words, they
Yep.
consume a lot of emotional work and a lot of uh, time on your part. And but the thing is, you're taught to not only desire but also chase this things, the stuff that you're giving away, until you kind of like make a break and get away from it. And then, like anything else, I don't know. Have you ever like gone gone off like say like something like sugar for like 3 months?
Yeah, yeah. Like uh, I've done that not with sugar, but like if
Hmm.
you start to really clean your diet out and then
Hmm.
you go back and eat that 7-Eleven hot dog, that
Yeah,
sucker will go right through you like just a hot knife through butter because your body just doesn't like it and doesn't want to process it, and it
yeah,
also makes you feel different too.
yeah. But the thing is also what's saying about sugar is the taste. So if you're going off sugar for like 2 or 3 months, and then you pick up something sweet, it's nasty. It's actually nasty. But then you actually realize what the real taste of sugar actually is, because
Right.
you don't
And
have you don't have the resistance to it anymore. Because over time, over your lifetime, you build up a resistance to certain things, like resistance uh, up to people being negative, or people draining you emotionally, or people wasting your time. You build up a resistance to it, so it doesn't bother you. But the thing is, once you make your break, you have to deal with yourself. You have to clean all those addictions and habits out, emotional addictions and habits out, and then you have to go back to it. Then you realize it's actually harder to get back into it. It's harder to go
y-
back in eating sugar or eating certain foods because your palate has changed.
yeah, my
Same thing
brother
go ahead.
Miguel in the chat, it says detox, and a lot of times you have to go through.
Hmm.
Um, it's good to go through those detoxes. And what you said about sugar is crazy because now that sugar, it takes a lot less to get you to a point where like, oh, you're almost like, oh, it's too sweet.
Yeah,
Like you got to
yeah,
dilute it now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the same thing with mini monkhood. Breaking off your relationship with females from for at least 90 days, because if you do it for like 6 weeks, you don't get the full effect, you don't get the full detox, you don't get the full you don't go through the get through the full I'm gonna say shakes,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
like
first 90 days you're gonna go through some shakes, man.
yeah, like and the thing is, so this brings up like the celibacy, like the revirgination,
Oh yeah,
portion.
hey, I don't like that word, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Revirgination.
which is just bullshit.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to still do these things, right? To even
Hmm.
have like a form of celibacy, if you will, or
Hmm.
a detachment from these things,
Right, detachment,
not
yeah.
to make it feel better the next time, but to also understand the feeling a little bit more.
Well, it's not only the feeling, but thing is, I think you've gone through it because you've been out there in Georgia. I think you've gone through it, right? Um,
Well, I've gone through it. I've gone through it before.
hmm.
Like I would say, even in Florida, I'd have what they call stripper season. So a
Okay.
month, I go every week for a month straight. I go out to the strip club, and then after a while, I just get tired of it, and you wouldn't see me at the club for 3 to 6 months. And the only
Okay.
reason I knew that I was doing that is because I'd come back and the security guard would be like, "Bro, I haven't seen you in so long. What's going on? You were
Mm,
always chill, bro. I like you, man." So I was just like, "Whoa, that's kind of crazy." But you never notice how much you were actually going to these places, and then I
mm,
started seeing my pattern in it as
mm.
well.
Yeah. Well, when it's saying is when you go through a full detox, like for like many monkhood, right, where you just swearing off uh, any kind of attachment with women whatsoever, right? A full
Mhm.
break, which for most men is pretty hard. But you go through that 90 days, and I always tell guys if they said they're going through a monkhood, I said, okay. I said if you're gonna make a break, at least try to, um, and you're gonna go back, at least try to keep up your resistance to female emotionalism. Because if you don't, say if you make a 6 months break and you swear off women, you don't even talk to them or don't even associate with them for like 6 months, going back, man, they're gonna really irritate you.
Yep.
Okay, they're gonna irritate the fuck out of you, man. Like um, once you get into it, it's really harder to get back into it um, because really it's your sexual nature that's actually driving you. And once you try to get back into it, a woman starts talking like, man, I want to talk to her. I mean, Talking to her
Yeah,
is
like
not
there's a
worth
lot
anymore.
less shit that you put up with,
Yeah,
or like when to say, hey, listen, man, this is not working for me. I'm out.
yeah. I'm out. Yeah, yeah. Because you're resisting. You've lost your resistance to their fuckery. So, but the thing, what it does teach you is exactly the price that you pay to actually be in a relationship.
Yeah, and that's like so important to self valuation, right? Like not the external valuation, because sometimes people will actually, even though you are of a higher value to a person, they'll
Mm-hmm.
still treat you like you're less than, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Or not give you the valuation that you think you deserve. Your
Yeah.
self appraisal.
Yeah.
So that happens quite a bit.
Yeah, and then the thing is, one like I said, once you kind of cleanse your palate, you can actually, uh, you get to know what your value is and
Hmm.
know what you're giving up. Even down to the smallest little bit, like small, like her telling you her problems, or you doing her a favor, or you buying her lunch, whatever that is, right? You begin to appreciate the smallest little value that you're giving up. So you start to demand reciprocal value the same way. So in
Yeah.
other words, I don't, I don't have to sit here and talk to you about your problems for 2 hours, right? I got better things to do. So I'm gonna give you like 15, 20 minutes because we cool. And after that, hey, you got to go find somebody else.
Or, for me, and this is
Mm,
something I talked to the Grinch about. Actually, first I want to address this question by anti gravity. What
mm,
about porn addiction? I'm sure it went crazy high during the Rona, and that's true. Porn addiction, OnlyFans models getting more money,
mm-hmm.
making more money during that time.
Yeah.
That was like a big deal. Um, and
Porn,
then
porn addiction will, well, it depends on the person. Okay, it depends on you. Yeah, I'm sure porn addiction will because you don't have the real thing in front of you. You can't interact with women, so it probably did. It
yeah, and then
probably did.
the thing is, like, for instance, to me, like when it comes to like when people talk about like addiction, it's
Mm-hmm.
like there's of course there's levels to it, right? People will talk
Mm-hmm.
about addiction in terms of like, oh, okay, like, hey, listen, you have a porn addiction, that means you can't stop. But some people just like porn and like you watch it, but
Yeah.
that's not the same as an addiction. Like some people have some really, really heavy addictions to pornography where they're like they have to, oh, I'm at work, I'm gonna go to a bathroom real quick and like really bang one out in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, bro, like wait till you get home. Nah, man, I gotta get this done now. Like that's an addiction to me. Like that's a bit much, you
Yeah.
know. But it's
That.
also perspective too. For some people, it's just like, yo, listen, you see it as an addiction, it's a norm, but it's other people looking outside from the outside looking in too, which is
I
it's all.
think I think a lot of guys really got burnt out on porn because if you're sitting at home with nothing to do, and you can't watch porn all day, you're gonna
Mhm.
get burned out on it. I think a lot of guys really got burnt out on porn
Yeah,
because
I can see
OnlyFans
that.
and all the kind of suffered. You know.
Yeah, and in
That,
some cases, when you're in these hyper situations, hyper
mm-hmm.
isolation,
Mm-hmm.
hyper maybe hyperactivity, like where you're talking with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
you're hyper exposure to more people and environments, like more people around you. So when you have these different sides of it, sometimes they make you value things a little bit more. So uh, if you're really isolated, now you start to value, like, okay, when I go to the grocery store, if I see somebody I like, now it kind of pushes you out of that comfort zone. Like, I gotta holler at her because I don't go to work anymore, and I can't even get any type of female attention
Mm-hmm.
from the chick that I flirt with 2 aisles over in my cubicle farm. You know,
Right. Uh-huh.
so it's like sometimes that causes you to do other things, and hopefully it works positively, but it doesn't always, of course.
It will because well, especially in this electronic age, right? I think what it did with this kind of mini lockdown that we went into, it
Mhm.
made people appreciate the person to person contact. So instead of sitting at home playing your games or even watching porn or banging actually constantly texting on your phone or whatever you do electronically, uh, I think people just got saturated with it and got sick of it being in the house doing that. So they really wanted to get outside and socialize with people. So I
Yeah,
think
like
on the other side, I think we're going to have a lot of people getting out of that I wouldn't say. I would call it
That trance
that
fog.
trance, that incel behavior where I'm socially awkward. They're going
Mm.
to really look for social interaction because we are social beings.
Yeah, we're
And
gregarious creatures. I always like to say, to quote
yeah,
like the
yeah,
Sherlock Holmes diary series. I
yeah,
love that series. But
yeah.
I'm sorry.
We were bred that way for survival because we couldn't live out in the wild on our own. We're not big enough or strong
Yep.
enough, so we had to do it in groups, and that's the way we've evolved. So if you put people in isolation long enough, they're going to really crave social interaction. So a lot of guys that were like socially backward, I think they're actually going to press forward. So it might heal a lot of things with guys that were wrong. So Rona might be, there might be a silver lining in all of this.
Yeah, and then you had the what they call the coronials, like in terms of babies, but there wasn't that the study showed, and I think you talked about this slash
Mm.
exposed this, where like the birth rates didn't go up that much because of Corona, because
Oh, they
everybody
went
was
down. They didn't go up at
yeah,
all. They went down.
right. So it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, what about the post coronials? Like, will it go up now because more people are going to start talking, or that remains to be seen. I think, right?
It remains to be seen. The thing about one of the things that really affect childbirth is money,
Yep.
and if women don't think that baby can survive, or she can't afford to have that baby, she won't have that baby.
Hmm.
If there's no money for her and the baby to survive, a lot of women will actually postpone it, especially with birth control and all that kind of stuff. A lot of women will be a lot more cautious about just plopping out a baby.
Right. Yeah, and going back a little bit too, it's like the valuation of certain relationships. So women valuing men to a certain extent, but
Hmm.
then also men, not just men valuing other women and actually getting out of that being socially awkward, but
Hmm.
also valuing themselves as well. Like saying, hey,
Yeah.
listen, this is what I'm gonna put up with, what I'm not gonna put up with,
Uh,
where what I'm gonna do. Like the only thing I know for sure is what I'm not going to do. And
right.
then in some cases, that's been moved a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because a lot of people, uh, a lot of people during this particular time had to really get to know themselves. And I'm
Hmm.
seeing a lot of articles about, especially men, especially black men, that have really gotten to know themselves, and a lot of characteristics they thought were so important, like uh, you know, um, chasing women and I can't get a date or something like that. A lot of that stuff has gone away
Yeah, yeah,
because they.
because it's like yo, listen, if some of the stuff that you heard in music and so on and so
Mm,
forth is coming out to where it's just like there's tracks where it's like never chase a bitch, so on and so forth.
mm,
But now it's like, okay, now people are seeing that, hey, this person being in my life
yeah,
is not a benefit, or
yeah,
this person actually in my life is a hindrance.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and because like you've been out there what almost a year? Has it been a year?
Yeah, over October 2021 is a year, man, since I bought this place.
Yeah, and you I mean you're not completely isolated, but you've been pretty much out there by yourself
Mhm.
for the most part. But the thing is that being out there, it does two. It does a couple things, right? It really sharpens things. You realize the things that you really miss and that you really need versus things that you don't,
Right.
because you really get to know who you are and what you need. And
Yeah, like
after a few months, you really figure, okay, um, some stuff that I don't miss because they were a hindrance or they weren't of value, versus stuff that I really would like to have.
yeah, like I mean, even the strip clubs. It's like now for me to get to a club, it's like an hour and a half away. And it's just like,
Hmm.
I'll look at it and I'll be like, I don't feel like going out there. Like I really don't need it that badly. Like I focus on other things, doing more projects, focusing on my autonomous mowing project, and
Right.
getting that off the ground a little bit more. As you see right now, I'm making an actual building. Like I'm actually going to be ordering this hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
Um, ain't gonna be looking this oblong or anything, but uh, ordering a building and getting this all like situated. It's actually supposed to be
Okay.
like 60 feet. So I'm
Okay.
getting an
So
80-foot building put in. and 20 feet of it will be canopy where there's nothing on underneath it, and then 60 feet will be enclosed.
Okay.
So it's going to be like my new workshop and stuff like that. So
Okay. Okay. You're gonna put down oh, you have to put concrete down. So you're gonna put down the concrete base.
yeah, so I'm gonna
Okay.
get the concrete, like one like mono footer concrete or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be like heavy load bearing or anything like that. But I
Okay.
can, you can actually reinforce certain sections if you wanted to store cars. But it's just gonna be workshops and then or my workshop, and then hopefully I'll get like ATVs sooner or
Okay.
later. But yeah.
Yeah, they get it. That stuff is getting pretty cheap
Yeah,
compared
this
to
well,
what it
this is
was.
cheap. It says it here it's this much, but for what I've been quoted, it's going to be about 30 grand and another
Hmm.
10 grand in concrete. So I'm looking at a 40 grand building. Yeah, 40, a little bit over 40. But the guy sent me some renderings today,
Hmm.
and this
Okay.
is kind of like what I've been looking at here. So
Okay.
that's essentially how it's going to look.
Okay.
But I mean, sorry, back to the conversation. Um, Doing things like this,
Yeah.
start getting more into your hobbies. Like, okay, on this section of the building, um, I plan on, having a shooting range out here, right? So this will
Hmm.
face to the back of the property, and I'll have my shooting range to where I can, work on my guns. I have my 12-foot doors here. I'm gonna get a new truck pretty soon.
Okay.
So doing all these things and changing your environment and not just changing your environment, but changing along with your environment.
Right.
Because it's not strippers. It's not all the places I can eat.
Yeah.
And because I went back to Florida this weekend and like, yo, it was some of the food is just different, right? It's just better um than it is out here. But then it's like, okay, the random traffic jams you have on the expressway. It's just
Hmm.
like, damn, I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, there are advantages to, especially if you're younger, to living in a metropolitan area.
Yeah, the opportunities that you get, most definitely.
Opportunity, yeah. Well, yeah, the variety of things you can do, the opportunities that you can get, being around people, entertainment, all that kind of stuff. Because if you, it's like if say if you live in a smaller area, like a rural area, like I did for like 3 months, in a Central America, right? I can see me versus me being a 50-year-old man versus being a 25-year-old man. Okay,
Hmm.
where is where somebody in their 20s? Okay, they'd rather be in Los Angeles than being in some little small town in Central America. Okay,
Right.
because it's way more fun. There's much more things to do, more things to explore, and
But then
more
when you
things to
get
pique your
older,
curiosity. Yeah.
but now like as I'm getting older, it's just like I don't want all that. But I even think about that, like, okay, Miguel says, F the strippers, give me some gun range. Miguel is a gun nut, man, and like that guy is like he's crazy with the guns. He actually bought some of mine. But I think he said he lost them in a boating accident, so he technically doesn't have it, just in case the government's listening. Um, so, but it's like now it's like I don't need all this. I don't need all the same things. Like I like the view of my lake and stuff like that. I was like so
Mm-hmm.
ready to like get back. Every time I go down to Florida, it's good for like 2 seconds, but then you're just ready to get back, man. You start seeing people zooming in all over the place and driving crazy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like this is why the insurance is high here. This is the environmental stress that you just don't see on a regular
Yeah.
basis. These are
Yeah.
the things that are stressing a lot of us out,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and
But
making
the
us
thing
feel a certain way.
But the thing
Sorry.
is, the thing is, when you're in it, you have a resistance to it, so you don't feel it, you don't notice it.
A resistance, tolerance, ignorance.
Tolerance.
Like it's
Yeah.
just it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's because even the noise pollution. Like if I open up my window now, yeah, you don't hear nothing out there, right? Like I mean,
Mm.
you probably hear my heater underneath here, but you don't hear nothing out there unless
Right.
there's a train coming by.
Right.
You keep the window closed at my old house in the suburbs in a city of Plantation, really
Right.
nice area, but I'm hearing the turnpike. I can hear more sirens. I can hear trucks on the road and everything. Like the
Hmm.
noise pollution is not heavy, but it's there.
Hmm. Yeah. There's a constant rumble. just by being in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like even with the opportunities are great, but then it's just like, at what cost? Like what cost to your mind and stuff, like, what does that actually do to you? And some people don't understand, like, there's a cost to it that comes
yeah,
with
there
it.
is,
It's
there
an
is.
unknown pressure, really.
Yeah, there is.
What is this? Okay, I gotta pick my sides here. And yeah, and that's kind of like the thing that I think most people don't understand when they're actually in it, and they don't see it on a regular basis. It becomes something that is so normal, but then when they move to other places, it's like a whole change. And it's kind of like, you have you have the gangster, the thug, the criminal that goes to jail, and then he finds God, or he finds the Muslim religions and things like that. He finds Allah. He starts reading the Quran and stuff like that. So it's things like that that happen, and people don't realize. Hey, um, if you change a little bit about where you are, then that can also cause a massive change in you as well.
Well, yeah, we all formed our environment, so where
Yeah.
you are, you're going to adapt to it. Are you going to adapt to it, or are you going to flee from it?
Right. So what are your thoughts about things that are happening in the space? Because I don't really have any, it's just random stuff for me, but what are your thoughts about things that are happening in the space in terms of progress? And even, you know, the Black Brain Trust talks about Manosphere 3.0. Are we ready for that? What are your thoughts
Uh,
moving forward?
well, Bannister 3.0 has to put its stamp on the space, and when they do that, then the space will change. But they have to put their stamp on the space, and so far they really haven't, in my
Okay.
opinion. I mean, do they have an effect? Yeah. But the thing is, have they really put their stamp on it? Like 2.0, regardless of what you say about 2.0, 2.0 has put the stamp on not just the black manosphere, but the whole manosphere uh, altogether and beyond. So 2.0 is basically, even if you look at what I call the Kevin Samuels effect, okay, that's bleeding out. That and the other thoughts and ideas and theories are actually bleeding out not only to the into the entertainment world and the social world, but also the academic world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dr. Johnson said he was talking to a colleague, and they happened to mention, they were at a conference, they actually mentioned his name to a bunch of the other colleagues, and they already knew who he was.
What, Tia San Johnson or
Tia San Johnson, yeah. Tia San
wow.
Johnson. I knew who he was because they watch his channel every week.
And
So
it's crazy. Go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's crazy that, I mean, I remember when you first mentioned him, and I started to go on his channel, and I had subscribed kind of immediately, and just looking at some of his old work. And now, of course, like great production, and I think you've had a helping hand with that, but
Hmm.
great production and everything like that. But some
Hmm.
of his old videos, man, like you could just, it resonated with me. Some of his older videos really resonated with me in
Hmm.
terms of like, wow, these are the words that define my feelings that I just can't get out.
Hmm.
Like that was really, it's really cool to actually get that, to like get the words, to actually understand what you're feeling, because the words help and anchor, like the words act as a marker,
Yeah,
so you can be like,
they give you a language,
right,
language to
a
define
lexicon,
things.
if you will,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. To define things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they said, the world was the universe was made by I'm trying to remember the name of the guy, naming parts of himself. In other words, making a definition for for things in the universe. So basically,
Right.
if people cannot define things or bring things into consciousness unless they give it a name, unless they give it a lexicon or a language.
Right. Yeah, and then there's power in that. Like, there's an anime I watch, called something of about being a slime or something like that. The time I was
Hmm.
reincarnated as a slime, and in that anime, it takes a lot of magic power to name something.
Right.
So when you actually name something or give something a name, it actually the thing that you name, whether it's a goblin or a creature or something like that, that
Mm-hmm.
creature actually evolves and gets stronger because of it.
Right.
So,
Right.
and that's kind of the importance of, like, if we get back to the baseline, this is something that Ed's been talking about, but the baseline of all the different pills. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, when I listen to and I'll shorten it up here in a second, but I want to explain this to build context. But when I listen to people like Abba and Preach,
Right.
and they made a video talking about the pills are astrology for men, and it's just like, okay, that's funny. I see what you guys are trying to do. Like, women, put so much on astrology,
Mm-hmm.
but the pills, the importance is sometimes missed on people that don't understand, because now it's just so normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have red pill, blue pill, and then you have the understanding that comes with it. But now it's just so normal. Whereas before we didn't have it. Like, we weren't talking like this because we didn't understand what we were talking about. So when we
Mm-hmm.
put these names to it, it gives an even better understanding. So now everybody can look at it and put a critique on it as if it's nothing, but we see it, or we saw it, like, come up. So I'll leave it at that. But go ahead, your thought.
Well, yeah, because it's a philosophy, right? Any
Mhm.
philosophy, okay, you can make fun of any philosophy that you want. Capitalism, communism, socialism, they're all philosophies, right? And the thing is that for the, I would say for the inept or the novice, okay, it doesn't mean anything. It's funny because you don't understand what the philosophy is about. And Abba and Preach, they use the philosophy without even knowing about it. They
Yep.
use red pill without unconsciously. They don't know that they're using it.
Yep.
They're
Yeah,
laughing at it.
there's
They're
a lot of
laughing at it,
black
but
men that are out here that
yeah,
will talk down about MGTOW, but it's
hmm
like, you're doing the same shit.
you're
It's
doing the
just
same
like,
shit. Yeah, because most people don't. Most people talk about MGTOW and they think I think the two extremes are the monk or incel.
right.
Okay, and they
Yeah, like,
forget that the
and
most
it's funny how those
go ahead.
two extremes have no pussy, which is, it's funny, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. If one can't get it, one has given it up. Okay,
Right,
they forget monks. Most monks have gone through the trials. They didn't just go from incel to monk. It doesn't work that way. Okay,
right.
most monks that I know of, because one of the I'm a MGTOW monk, and
Mhm.
the monks that I used to talk to, they were married, they had kids, they got grandkids, they got the whole gamut, and they just they said one day they said, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. I'm just gonna give it up. I had enough pussy, I had enough women, I've gone through enough women, you know. I'm tired of even listening to them. And it's not really the sex part, it's the emotional support that you have to give women. That's what really drains like older men, okay?
Yep.
I can't listen to her one more day. I can't listen to her come home and with her attitude and listen to her problems just to get her box for an hour a day. It's not
Right.
worth it anymore.
And
You know.
it's not even so much about being a tampon, but it turns into, being a dumpster.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you just want to dump all your trash on me, and then I'm supposed to, like, accept it, not even make it into something, but just to accept it and just be
right.
okay with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
and
there's no but as just like you would with a dumpster, you don't value it until you
yeah,
don't have it, and
until
then
you don't
all your
have it.
shit's just spread throughout on the floor.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Right.
That's what happens. And women, I've know women will give you sex just so they can dump their emotionality on you.
Right.
That's why they keep a boyfriend. It's not for sex. It's so their boyfriend can keep them emotionally stable, give them the attention that they want, and they can actually dump their their angst onto a male anima, as I call it, a male brain.
Yeah, yeah, like a canvas of some sort. And
Hmm.
it's just like, some women, they have like, women will talk about having guy friends
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And it's just like, why do you have so many guy friends? Like, you don't have anybody that's close to you, or you can't, quote unquote, keep a man around you or anything else like that. Or you think that these guys are out here and they're your quote unquote friends. And it's just like, yo, listen, let them know you, like, send them a picture. Let them know you got the draws for them and see what
Hmm.
happens,
Yep.
which is kind of crazy. But, um, yeah, and that goes into the lack of value that of male energy as well. like women value it, but just acting like they value it sometimes is like it's crazy that you just don't see that. Like it's you're valued like you're worth less, in the eyes of women, which is kind of crazy when you
It,
see
well,
that.
because the biggest problem is because guys give it away freely,
Yep.
and a lot of guys really don't value it themselves. They think, okay, me listening to her, it has no value, but it does. And trying
Right.
to convince guys, because we've been taught that uh, uh, a woman talking to you has no value unless she lays down and opens her leg. That's where the value comes. Okay, unless you buying her dinner, that's where the value comes. So you think that her merely talking to you or you listening to her problems have no value until you stop listening to her problems, and then that
Right.
becomes the most valuable thing. And then women will go nuts because they can't find a guy to actually talk to, because talking to a woman and talking to a man are two different things,
Right.
two different situations. They can talk to their girlfriends. Uh, they have 50 girlfriends. They can talk to all 50 of them, right? Not the same thing as talking to that one guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, and then also one of the things that's important is
Hmm.
knowing when you are that guy, right?
Yeah.
One, respecting it, and then respecting that position that you hold.
Hmm.
Because if you don't, it's a bit of a squandering of that position. But then also, you also have to respect that. Hey, if you don't feel that same way, then you should let that person know, detach, move off, whether it
Yeah.
hurts them or not, because you're going to hurt them by not respecting it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's very important as well, because you're dealing. Women are human beings, and it's like for some reason, I feel that people forget that, like especially in this space a little bit too much, where we're seeing the third wave of MGTOW and men and moving into the space where it's just like, listen, they're human beings too. Like they've taken our humanity in some cases, but we also don't respect theirs as well.
Well, we don't. The thing is, we don't understand each other as much as we used to.
Right.
And because and for a long time we didn't have to, because um, the institution, right, the institution of marriage and dating and courting took care of all that. Basically, women had a role and you had a role, and long as you did your role versus hers, you didn't have to understand her, and she didn't really have to understand you. It's just the mechanisms actually took care of all that kind of stuff. But thing is, now that we don't have those mechanisms, now we have to understand each other, and
Right.
and nobody really can tell us how to do that. You have to
You know,
almost everybody has to come together, crowdsource, and basically learn by doing.
well, when you say like we don't have those mechanisms anymore,
Hmm.
it's to me it's more of like Don Calypso always be sending me freaking chicks, man. Um, well, I tell you, man, he's worse than me. Oh shoot, what am I doing here? I don't know why that came up. Clicked the wrong thing. But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, the thing is we don't have those avenues anymore, but the avenues that we do have are so perverted or so farther away from the actual truth
Yeah.
that it makes these things look like so much different than they actually are. Like your Instagrams, all the
Hmm.
ways that you can seek attention, POF
Mm. Right.
for your dating
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So where we don't have the same things in terms of courting, now we also have an extra layer of just bullshit on top of it in the
Yeah.
form of filters.
Yeah. Junk food.
Yeah, yeah,
Junk attention. Junk socialization. Junk food,
right.
and
And it's crazy.
it's not healthy for you. But the thing is, it's quick. You don't have to. It's quick. It's processed. All you got to do is consume it.
And that's the same thing when it comes to like I was talking to Grinch last night
Hmm.
and talking about my like me looking at women and how I've dealt with women. And also I
Hmm.
don't know if you heard this part where I was talking about um I dealt with prostitutes before I dealt with a girlfriend. Like I had more interactions with prostitutes than I did in terms of like instead of like dealing with okay getting a girlfriend and so on and so
Hmm.
forth.
Uh-huh.
Like even my first time, I first time having sex, it wasn't with a prostitute, but it was I videotaped it. So it's just like,
Okay.
But it's just like, but what does that make? That makes sense because it's like, all right, cool. As a kid, like, I used to watch porn and shit. Like
Okay.
steal the videos. So then my first time, I fucking recorded the shit. So it's just like, how'd that look? Yeah, the real trip is when I
Uh,
actually I took that video and I showed it to my mom. It's just hilarious.
oh, I don't know about that one.
My
you
mother's
got
so
you got
it's
you got a very understanding mom.
no, it's a joke. In our family, she was like, "Yo,
Okay.
listen, you're gonna tell me when you get your first when your first time happens."
Oh, okay.
And I said,
Okay.
"Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll just
Okay.
do it on your bed and leave the stains on the sheets." And I was just
Oh,
playing, right?
oh, uh-huh.
But this is how we talk. So
Okay.
then, and this could say so much about society and even just like home life. But then it happened, and I videotaped it and I showed her.
Oh,
And even my dad found out about it, and he was just like, "Yo, Mike, I heard what happened, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, you want to see the video?" He's like, "No, no, 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 I'm good, I'm good, I'm good."
yeah, I don't think that's something that I don't line I want to cross. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to. I don't think my kids want to see me have sex, and I don't see them have sex.
yeah. I mean, like even if it's your like, definitely not the daughters, but it's just like, even if
Nah,
it's your
not even
son,
not even
like,
my son. Nah, not even my
I could,
son. I don't
I
want to see it.
understand. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, even my nephew talks about it. I'm like, all right, man, all right, cool, bro. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
change your diaper, dude.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
understand. I understand that sentiment. That was just like something that was funny. That happened
Yeah,
with me.
that does not happen every day.
No, that's not normal. But
That's
that's
not
kind of
normal.
like when you start to think when I start to think back and how it shapes the relationships that I've had with women and have with women today,
Hmm.
and also even the relationships, the sexual relationships, the transactional sexual relationships, such as
Right.
tricking and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of this stuff. It's like it starts to make sense.
It will shape the way. Well, you form habits.
Yep.
You form habits, and the traditional way is, you know, it has its benefits, but it is a lot harder than transactional. Just say, you know what, you got a fat ass, and I got $50. You know,
Right.
which is quick.
Right.
It's quick. Deed gets done. You get what you want. I get what I want, and I don't have to hear your emotional bullshit. Okay, I don't have to. I don't have to have the maintenance of having a girlfriend. And
Right. But then
sometimes
there's
go ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is that but you also miss the emotional support that you get from a female,
All
which
right,
is
you
something
got
that
me.
you
That's
miss.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
You don't get that. You don't get the
yeah,
laying down, talking, the pillow talk, and all this
yeah,
other stuff.
yeah.
Like I have gotten that from dancers. Like there's some dancers that just really liked me, and
Hmm.
like what there was no money involved, and then you could sit there and lay with them, hold them in your arms, lay on your
Hmm.
chest, and all that other
Hmm.
stuff, and tell me your deepest darkest secrets. Okay, probably not that deep, but like getting that emotional connection, so
Hmm.
to speak, even if it is for a little bit of time, like the GFE, or the girlfriend experience.
Yep. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, the girlfriend experience. Well,
yeah,
they say they
without
say
not
they
paying
said,
for it.
yeah, they say the best girlfriend experience is going down to Brazil.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they really get into the girlfriend experience.
Yeah, like that stuff. I don't know. I'm not a travel person, and that's because I was semi traumatized as a kid. Like my aunt, freaking, she was late picking me up, and I missed my flight, and I thought I was stuck in New Jersey for the rest of my
Okay,
life.
okay.
So I've traveled since then, but I just like I'm not a big traveler. Like, listen, like I'll travel to the grocery store. Like, I ain't traveling no damn other country, and I'm definitely not doing that for no freaking poontang.
The thing is what I've heard because I haven't been down there is the way they go about their business. It transforms a lot of guys. That's how Patricia Neal got transformed. He went down there and
Uh-huh.
he uh, he learned how to separate sex from emotion from being a girlfriend because of what those girls actually taught him down there. So
Really?
I think Ronald O'Neill, the Professor Neal, actually went down there, and he's basically learned the same thing. It's a different way. It's a different way of doing things.
Hmm. So like, and then can you expound on that a little bit more, like in terms of I mean, we know the difference in the manosphere, but
Uh-huh.
in terms of, I guess, from the recounting that you heard, what happened? Like, what was that about? Like,
Okay.
what was the scenario?
Okay. It's just the way that's the way they see sex in male female relationships, right? In America, especially in Black America, right? Even if you trick, right? You're paying a chick, but you're paying her to do you a favor. Now,
Hmm.
whether what it doesn't matter, right? I don't care how much you pay her. You're paying her to do you a favor, and that's the way they look at it. Okay, he's
Hmm.
paying me. I'm doing so. He wants me to do a favor with sexual favors or whatever it is, and he's going to pay me this amount of money. Even that, right? Um, it's like uh, oh, they still
BJ,
treat
I
you.
gotta
Go
interject
ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Like, even when you say you're paying them to do you a favor,
Right.
to the point, it's gotten to the point though. Like, hoes ain't even hoes no more, or good hoes, because what I've seen personally
Mm-hmm.
is that they have to actually like you like an actual boyfriend. They have to be attracted to you. Whereas back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't. It was really about the money. So, and
Right.
then also a sense of entitlement. Like, you owe me that money just because I'm beautiful or what have you,
Right.
and I'm getting everything out of this. Like,
Right.
I have the quote unquote power. I'm the boss bitch, and it's just like,
Right.
no, no, you a hoe, and you know, here's $5.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, then down in Brazil, they're submissive, right?
Mm,
And they, even though even they don't want to be treated like a hoe, they want to be treated like a girlfriend. They want to be treated like a woman. They want to be treated like a submissive woman. So they're going to give you that experience about that you don't get in America. They're going to be submissive. They're going to cater to you. They're going to treat you like a king. They're going to do all that stuff that they're trained to do.
mm-hmm.
Whereas in America, they don't. Even the call girls don't treat you that way. Okay, they treat you like okay, they treat you like a trick, like you're beneath them. Because
Right,
and I think a lot of these renegades out here, man. I think a lot of these chicks are like that want to like you is because they're renegades, and they don't have any other man to be basically emotionally attached to. So even with a hoe, right? She got to have at least one man that she's attached to, they're emotionally
right.
attached to. Then she can actually go out there and do her business. But the thing is,
Yeah,
you got
that
to
anchor of sorts.
the
Right,
anchors. The anchors are emotionally okay. They got to be anchored emotionally. And what I think you have with renegades, they don't have anybody to anchor emotionally to. So that's probably why they want to like you. They just can't go
right.
out and do their business because they gotta muster up some kind of emotion. And some chicks out here doing this stuff are not really built to be hoes.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah.
Most definitely not. I've seen this quite a bit where it's just like, that's why I say things like, um, hoes aren't really hoes anymore. And really,
Mm-hmm.
I used to look at things like what happens in the stripper scene or the strip club. I used to look at that as a microcosm of greater society.
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting to see it even more where in personal relationships, a lot of the women will act like actual hoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of crazy because they're confused as well. Like, they don't even know what's up from down.
Right.
Listen, I give this to whoever I want to, and it's just like, all right, cool. I mean, and I said that wrong, but one of the things I noticed is, like, I said this to somebody. I was just like, yeah, but you're giving it away for free anyway. So, like, so the person that said something, and then it made her think. She was just like, oh yeah, I am. And I was like, you're not getting anything. And I was like, that's great. You're doing what you're doing, but like, are you okay with your result? And then, they have to face the reality of they're not okay with the results that they're getting in terms of
Yeah.
women. And the same thing goes for men. We're not okay with the results we're getting.
Right.
And me personally as well. Like, I want to change what I'm doing. So I'm trying to get a different result. So I change the things I do, like in terms of the women I chase and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yep. 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 That's what you have to do. And like sometimes you get into a habit, and even though the habit's not productive for you, you just so used to doing it because you've learned how to do it so well, it's just easy to fall into.
Yep.
and that's what happens until you decide to either go ahead and make that break and change it and go through the work to actually change it to do something else.
Hmm.
And that's what happened even with women. If they're used to using their sexuality to get attention and get some kind of um, how can I say, some kind of uh, intimacy instead
Right.
of instead of going and doing it the proper way. Um, with men, money is easy. With women, just giving up sex is easy. Okay,
Hmm.
see, it's easy for a woman to lay down and open her legs. It's
Right.
easy for a
Well,
man to dig in his pocket and pay for something.
well,
So,
yeah, and that goes into sexual marketplace value and
you
actually
know,
the root of your value in that
right,
marketplace.
right. Instead of building up the other parts of yourself. And the same thing with women. There's other parts you never. If you fall back on something that's easy for you to do, you never build up the other parts of yourself.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that if you don't do the work, the
Hmm.
introspection, the inner, the look within,
Right.
you won't know how to answer certain questions. Like I find, where I talk to people with things like not just what do you bring to the table because it's never formed that way. It's
Hmm.
often formed as who are you and what do you want.
Right.
And I finally come up with the list. My three things is understanding, cooperation, and the willingness to accept guidance. And
Okay.
like for me, like the willingness to accept guidance is also cooperation, but more so like, okay, are you going to be stubborn about it? Do you
Hmm.
actually want to be guided by another person and told what to do in a certain situation? And will you also take that and actually use that information?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to be guided? Be guided by me, basically,
Right,
or are you willing to get on my program?
right.
Are you willing to work with me? Yeah, and
Yeah,
and some
and
and sometimes you have the tools that you work with me. Some chicks don't, man. Some chicks are um, they can't get on your program because they don't have the tools to get on your program, emotionally, mentally, even financially. Get on your program, they don't understand it. So basically, it's like raising a whole child. Okay, and
yeah,
you can't really raise a woman. Okay, you can't make you can't make a whole housewife. So hell, you can't make a partner, a woman that's uh, taught to be a man or be taught to be a partner, a housewife.
yeah.
If that's
Because
what you're looking
at the
for.
end of the day, it's not what they want. Like plain and simple. That's not what that person wants. And
Right.
when you and like you can try and fight it, but if that person doesn't want that, then at that point it's just you're forcing them, and you're delaying the inevitable. Plain and simple. Like you're not. Well, let me move over. You're not going to get what you want out of it. At any point in time, like, and or you're not going to get that for a long period of time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, even I had emailed you about that situation and like what I
Yeah.
ran into, and it's just like, man, abort mission. This is not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if that had happened, maybe 3 years ago, it might have been a different result. But thing is, you've gone through monkhood, and you know what
Yeah,
you're willing to accept and what you're willing not to accept, but
yeah,
what you
like
won't accept.
yeah, even in this situation, I saw what was happening, and I looked at it, and I was just like, it wasn't even on sex. It was like I was willing not to get sex, and then I looked at it, and I was like, yo, I'm not even, but I'm not okay with not getting any attention, like
Hmm.
with what I had witnessed, and I
Hmm.
was just like, no, and I literally packed up my stuff, and I had like I got ready to leave, and then the person did it again in a sense, and you know. I was gone. Like I had checked out, like it's like, hey,
Hmm.
listen, you don't know the bomb is hit, but you'll feel the
Hmm.
impact in a sense. Well, not the I won't be like, oh, you'll miss me when I'm gone, but more so, um, I will be gone. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gone.
it's
I'm out of
it's
here.
it's not for you. So,
Right.
and the thing
Right.
is that she was looking for an investor, and she had no product.
Yeah. Yeah. And the willingness to change in a lot of ways too, which is just kind of crazy that
Mm-hmm.
I do want to thank, sorry, Gold Professor for the Cash App, man. I appreciate you. You sent this earlier and I didn't say anything, but I do want to say that. Thank you very much. And of course, to the people that are listening, I appreciate and love you all for real. Like, I mean, I try to help out who I can. But continuing on, and then also not feeling bad about it too, which is another part of reclaiming choice,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about reclaiming, it's always been there, but you've been
Mm-hmm.
programmed not to take these choices or make these choices
Right.
and even feel certain emotions, especially as a man. So reclaiming that, hey, listen, I feel unwanted. I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And then also being like, yo, listen, I feel unwanted. Oh, well, you're not a man. Fuck you. I feel unwanted. Bye, bitch. like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like, and then just not and being unapologetic. And this is something that Dr. T. Hassan Johnson even said to me. He was just like, I made a comment, and he said, yeah, you were basically apologizing for your existence. And I was
Right.
like, well, yeah, damn. Like, and you start to really realize that's what you've been doing, or what people have that other people saw and maybe have taken advantage of. Not saying that this person did, but that's just working on yourself.
Right. Right. Valuing yourself.
You know,
And black men have been taught not to value themselves. Um,
you know.
they taught that we serve at the pleasure of black females.
Yeah,
That's what we've been taught.
like even my own father, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was in when I was in Florida, not this past time because I did see him this past time. Um, but I was in Florida. We went to go watch James Bond, and that was on November 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was around November 4th. So I drove over there and we watched James Bond, and then on the way home, I'm driving and I asked him, I was like, "Pops, man, why mommy? Like, why did you choose mommy? Like, why was she your wife? Like, what happened?" And the conversation went on, and he talked about the manipulation and some of the things that he went through and that he realized later on. And then one of the things that really, it was like, holy shit, this is exactly what we talk about in this space, and it was right here beside me this whole
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
He said, Mike, at one point I was taking care of the three of you, my brother, my sister, and um I was taking care of the three of you, and I took care of her three nephews.
Mm.
So there's six of you guys in the house. I'm paying all the bills. And every Friday we got out to eat. So it'd be Hungry Howie's Pizza or something like that,
Right.
depending on how many of us and everything like that. So like Fridays with like pizza night or something like that. Then he said, as soon as she got a higher paying job,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't need me anymore.
Oh, okay.
And that was around, I don't know if that was like, she was like, they came around, try to interview me and stuff like that, but it's like as soon as she got into that, she didn't need me anymore. And that was 98. And that was when my
Okay.
parents divorced, because they were separated for quite a few years, and my dad lived in my room with me, so
Okay.
we got
Wow.
close for that.
Okay.
So they were separated in the same house for, man, I want to say close to 3 years, man, probably
Okay.
two, 3 years.
Oh, so he was basically there for duty.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
reported for doing. He was just there to, like, do whatever, and then,
Yeah.
but it was a one of the split level homes, or the split homes, where it's like the master bedroom's on the complete other side of the house. So
Yeah.
he was over there with me and my brother and my sister.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Okay.
So it's just like, but then all of that shaping me, the pro trick that I am, and dealing with women in certain ways, and also like my emotions and everything. And it's like, so hearing that, it's crazy, but like that's the stuff that we talk about even today,
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I talk about, reclaiming choice. I know I'm going on here, but last
Yeah.
thing, reclaiming choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was it about my dad to say that he like, the kids obviously, but
Right.
what was it about my dad that he just didn't walk away sooner and just say, "Yo, listen, man, I'm gonna go live somewhere else, man,"
It's
before the
not the way.
divorce?
That's not the way he was taught. That's not the way he was brought up. That wasn't part of his worldview that he could. He
Right?
was taught that okay, this is your duty, and no matter what, you got to stay here. You got to endure.
Yeah, you have to
Even
endure. Yeah,
you hear Yana Van Zant, what she said, you got to stand in it with them,
yeah, endure,
regardless. Endure.
endure, suffer, and sacrifice.
Right.
Should make that into something. SSE, endure, suffer, and sacrifice, or EES. or ESS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But yeah, and that's just the crazy part of it all, man. And like I have my own quote unquote issues with my mom, but
Mm-hmm.
those are ours. But then it's like even just hearing that from my dad, bro. And this
Mm-hmm.
was this was only a couple weeks ago or a month ago that he said,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
yeah. He felt you're old enough to understand it.
yeah, and also asking that question. I know this is something that you and Charles talked about back in the hangout days. Yo,
Mm.
get your dad a bottle of his favorite whiskey, wine, or beer, and
Right.
sit down with him, man, and talk to him and ask him who he is. Who is the man that fucked my mama?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Basically.
you
And
know, like
why'd you choose her, and what made you stay, or what made you keep whatever arrangement that you have?
right, yeah. And some people take the screen share off, and some people they're not ready to get that answer. They don't know why their mom left or anything else like that. And then I don't even know if I could really believe my mom talking about it. So it's like, but that's also a bias too because I like my dad more. I like my dad more.
Well, the thing
I
is,
love
she
them
has.
both. I just
Yeah.
like one more than the other.
Yeah. Well, your boy, so you probably would. But the thing is, women have a different worldview. Okay,
Yep.
they have a different worldview about what a woman's supposed to do, also what a man is supposed to do.
Hmm.
And uh, and sometimes a man is a workhorse; he's a means to an end.
Yeah, and if he's not doing that, then
Yeah, he gets
he's out of
discarded.
line or his
Yeah.
value is less than or so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth,
Mm-hmm.
which is
He gets
crazy.
discarded.
Like, huh?
He gets discarded.
Yep.
Why they didn't stop sleeping in the same bedrooms? It could be any one of a number of things. Okay.
Yeah.
It could have
Yeah, and
been it could have been him. It could have been her. It could have been any one of a number of things.
yeah, and I won't count out like my dad is a bit of a ladies man. He's always had a girlfriend ever since. But
Mm-hmm.
if I look at the ever since they broke up with one another, but or divorced one another.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at things like the result of it all, like who's happier out of the two of them. For well over a decade, my mom's been pretty miserable. I'd say, in the long run of it, in the long run. And
Mm-hmm.
if I look at my dad, he's I I think he's happier. He sounds happier, at least to me.
Well,
Um,
if you're taking care of 6 kids and you're not uh, emotionally being taken care of in the household, yeah, you're laboring, and you're not free. And so what she did was free him. So after he got
yeah,
used to it, he got happier. Okay, I don't have that burden anymore. Even if there's a financial burden, I don't have the emotional burden.
yeah,
I
and
don't
you
have
still
that.
have access to the kids. Like even the other
Yeah.
day, my
Uh.
freaking sister beat me to it, and she bought him a fucking truck.
Oh, a
An
truck.
asshole.
Okay. All right. Man, those are
But
good kids. Yeah.
right, yeah. And my dad says it all the time. Like he has these sayings and stuff like that. He's like, "Yo, pops love the kids," and then I respond, "The kids love pops."
Yep.
And so he talks to my sister every day. I don't talk to my sister, but like he talks to my sister every day, and she just bought him a new truck, like
Oh,
brand
okay.
new off the lot.
Okay. Okay. Hey, nice to
Yeah,
have kids like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I guess you get in what you put out. All that work and sacrifice paid off, huh?
yeah, yeah. And even with my mom, like she has a support in me because she lives with me now here in GA.
Okay.
But the relationship's not the greatest. I put it like this: I can't live with the lady I love her, but sometimes you gotta love some people from afar. Just keep it like that. It's just like, man, I can't. Yeah, because you start to see one of the things that you see in terms of this women in general. Not my mom. I love her,
Mm-hmm.
but she's annoying,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell her that to her face. It's really no matter what your parent has done for you, that doesn't give them the right, in a sense, to treat you any which way, especially in your adult life,
Right.
and treat you with a lack of respect.
Right.
um, but also um, that doesn't mean that you have to just take any and everything that they dish out or they dump into you or dump onto you, or the
Mm-hmm.
way they treat you, pushing buttons and not respecting some of the things that you say and do.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you do have to be strong enough as a child or
as an adult, yeah.
an adult, yeah, an adult, to say,
Hmm.
hey, listen, I'm not going to allow you to do this for to me any longer. And that's the same thing even with relationships. I'm not going to allow you to do this to me, and I will leave. Like,
Yeah,
kids be damned. I'm fucking out of here, dude. Don't try
yeah,
me, dude.
yeah. Normally, what happens that causes that break is in that parent-child relationship is when you have children,
Hmm.
and then you're in the same place they were. So
Hmm.
and you going through the same experience they did when they were raising you. So basically, by the time um, like your kids get to a certain age, your parents really can't tell you very much. So, yeah, I said I'm raising my kids. I see where you fucked up. Okay, I see
Hmm.
what the mistakes that you made. So you basically, you have to respect me as an adult because I'm in the same place that you were.
Yeah, and it's like even with me being
Hmm.
36 and not having kids,
Hmm.
I've helped raise my nephew, which
Right.
you've helped me with that too in terms of some of my decisions I made when I
Hmm.
first entered this space, the Black Manosphere, instead of just the MGTOW space, because I know you from the MGTOW side of things. I knew you from, like,
The
the
Black
I don't
Nazi speaks. Yeah.
yeah, like where you had it was like a guy in a green suit with a dowel rod or something like that.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So I knew you from those days, like, what was it? Greetings, my big toe brothers. I
You
don't
know
know.
what? Back then, back then when on Black Nazi Speaks, I don't think I've ever heard from any Black MGTOWs. I didn't hear from Black MGTOWs that became it more. I said, wait a minute, you guys been following me all this time?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Because even that was there's Black Ram 313, and that
Right.
was when he was showing just the paper for all
Yeah.
his titles and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just like, bro, did you film this in the closet with your nightlight on or something like that? Like, that's how he did his videos, man. Black was Black Ram for Vengeance, and I think like Black Ram 313,
Right.
whatever account that he used. But yeah, I mean, we would always be out there, man. And like, what was crazy is like I heard all the white guys saying stuff, but then you started hearing a black guy saying stuff, and of course you could hear the blackness in a person's voice or in your
Hmm.
voice,
Right.
but it resonates with you, right? So when you start to really get it, you really latch on. But also, us being black and also not knowing, being programmed not to take these choices and being programmed not to face our emotions, um, why would we say anything to you? We've always been, uh, what's it called? We've always been invisible, so we stay that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because I thought I thought I had to become it board to actually start talking to black men. I didn't even know there was a whole bunch of black MGTOWs. I think the only one that I knew was what's his name? He's actually he's another programmer. What's his name?
Mike B.
No, no, not Mike V. I didn't mean Mike V till I became it more.
Oh,
I'll remember it in a minute. But he was the only one, only black MGTOW that I knew that
yeah.
actually
I mean,
socialized with me.
I used to be in maybe in comment sections, and
Hmm.
then I started coming onto the panels and being a part of the Coliseum and stuff like that.
Well, I always thought that all the black guys just found me when became a it more and started doing black content.
No, you were big in MGTOW spaces because your videos would get recommended along with watching Bar and Stardust
Uh huh.
back when he was Stardust instead of the Thinking Ape,
Right.
and the algorithm fed you to me.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how I found it. And then it was just a binge from there. It was just like, yo, whoa. Like, this is before YouTube Red. So you had to keep your phone on and keep it from turning it off. And then,
Okay.
I've just watched the videos, click on this one, click on this one, click on this one, like, the algorithm will keep you on the platform, but the content was just so eye opening. And then that was around the time I was also raising my nephew and really coming into um, dressing better at the time, cars and more money and all types of other
Hmm.
stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it was it was really a discovery, a renaissance, if you will, within myself. So
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime away.
yeah, because the MGTOW stuff was 2015. I don't think I really started joining panels until 2017.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably 2017.
by 2017. That's where I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was early 2017, maybe even late 26. Yeah, probably 2017 because I the first the first panel, first hangout was my phone was facing the ceiling, and then you were like, "Hey, bro, who are you?" And I'm like, my name is Michael." And that that time the channel name was my full name, and
Yeah.
then I got my name from the space. Few girls would do what you want to say. Oh my god! I guess these are people following you or something. I don't know.
No, I think that's a bot.
Yeah, it's got to be. All right, let's get rid of that. Oh come on,
Yeah,
block.
because I didn't share you. I don't think I shared you.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna pop up, so I didn't really share you.
yeah, but yeah, you'd be surprised, And then my name, this young grizzly name, I forgot who said it, man, but it was on a chat with a hangout, and I think I was growing out my hair a lot more, or something like that, at a time where I
Yeah.
hadn't got a haircut, and then young grizzly was born. But yeah,
Ah,
so I mean, listen, man, it's just as we know, we could talk about it all night, but like as we know, a lot of this stuff is not just men not being valued, but also men not valuing themselves,
I think
and
that's the
then
biggest.
also
I
not
think.
being afraid to separate. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's men not really not valuing themselves. That's the hardest thing to teach black men. Or you can teach them to not like women, or teach them actually observe women and what they do. But the thing is, to actually get the develop their own intrinsic value. That's kind of tough.
Yeah,
That's kind
yeah,
of tough.
and that's kind of like the really sad part is that we have so many men out here that just don't even care about themselves,
Yeah.
and they don't care about themselves enough to say, you will not treat me in this fashion, this manner,
Right. Yeah.
and that's the crazy part to me because I was in that space. I was in that what's it called? I was in that realm of thought. I was at that level of thought where I didn't value even my own opinion, and even I saw it like one of the yeah. I mean, you do it with your external women that you're dealing with, but then you also start to do it within your own family. And
Hmm.
then now I'm that person where it's just like, yo, listen, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Or talking with friends, like, they're like, bro, Mike, you're a savage, dude. And I'm like, listen, I'm not even really mean to women. It's just, I, I
Is, is
like,
this
I'm
is,
just
is this
quicker.
is this before Georgia, or is this after being there for a while?
Before. So
Uh huh.
I've been, I've been quote unquote ruthless with women for a while in terms of some of the things that my friends would hear me say,
Okay.
and they'll be like, "Bro, you said that," and I'll be like, "Yeah," like, but one of the ways I explained it, even in this recent upload, is that at one point I consciously, because I believe there's three personalities in a person, one for each one of your names, right?
Hmm.
First, middle, and last. Each one represent a part of you.
Yeah.
Um, but there was Omar, which is my middle name, and
Hmm.
Omar is the one that is the quote unquote evil, like not even evil, but just less tolerant, short tempered,
Okay.
um,
No
maybe
nonsense.
curse you out, but he's
Yeah.
more stern.
Okay.
And I said, I had this meeting with my personalities, and I said, hey, listen, and it's not to say like I'm crazy, but it's just
Hmm.
like I had this meeting, I sat down, or we sat down,
Hmm.
and we talked it out, and we said, listen, if you want the progress, if you want a certain level of progress, you're going to have to embrace being the asshole.
Yeah.
And I would always tell people, and I told even my student athletes, I am the nicest asshole you will ever meet. I will tell you you fucking suck, but I will also help you get better. And it was
Yep.
like a mind fuck because people would see it and they'd be like, wow, Coach Mike, that is really an asshole thing to say. And I'd be like, all right, cool. You ready to get better? Yeah. And then a couple weeks later, they're better. So it's like they're okay with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 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 Well, yeah. They basically they have to learn your boundaries. and
Yeah.
they might get pissed off for a second. But the thing is, if they really want to be around you, they're gonna learn. There's boundaries to what you can do to me, what you can say to me, or how you can be around me, and that's fair because they have them too.
Right. And then also not like, and also along with boundaries, being able to uh like, even with me being an asshole, I understand that's where the nice part comes in. You know, knowing that, like, when I say, women are human beings too, it's like, okay, they have things that they want, just like you have things you want. The compromises that you all gonna have to take, or the compromises that you're going to have to reach when talking
Hmm.
with that person. That person is a human being. They have things, dreams, and aspirations that they haven't gotten to either. And you
Right.
can't just come in and say, "Hey, listen, bitch, it's my way or the highway. This is my system, order, and structure, and
Hmm.
so on and so forth." And I think that's important. And then sometimes it gets lost in, especially now with the third wave of MGTOW, and or third wave of even the manosphere, and
Hmm.
people coming in with Kevin Samuels. It's like, some people are taking it good, but then there's some people that will just, get the bad side of it, where they don't understand the balance of it. They just see what they haven't been able to do. And
Right. In other words, they realize that they're gaining power, and now they have to figure out what they're going to do with that power because they haven't had
yeah,
it for so long.
yeah, and that's so true. Like, what is it called? Like, absolute power corrupts absolutely, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, and so now, one of the things that you've posed as a, not a question, but a call to arms, if you will,
Hmm.
of like saying, "Hey, you're like, your time's up," or no, sorry, it's your turn. What are you gonna
Right.
do? Like, hey,
What are you
you're
going to do
on the
with it?
front.
Yeah. What are you going to do with it? Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with it?
You
And
wanted to be here. You wanted them at the table. You wanted to be heard, and you wanted people to listen to your plight of whatever you had to say. Now, what do you have to say? And I
mhm.
think a lot of guys haven't really thought about what are they really going to say once they get their 15 minutes of fame. What are you going to say when you get on when you actually get the mic?
Yeah, because now they're coming to the table and they're like, "Well, listen, I just want a hug." And it's just like, get the fuck
Okay.
off the table, man. You fucking hug. All right, bitch, this is what I fucking want. But then there's also like, okay, there's that extreme of like, all right, bitch, this is what I want, and it's just like,
Mm,
no, bro, like, what do you want? What do you expect? Like, sometimes, just asking women, like, okay, what are your expectations? You'll
mhm.
find out a lot of these women have no expectations. And they have no expectations because everybody else around them has been failing.
Mhm.
So they don't even have any expectations. They just said, I want somebody that's going to be there. And that can mean anything.
Yeah.
But they have no expectations, because if you don't meet those expectations, then they won't be disappointed.
Yeah. Well, they'll be disappointed because you haven't learned yourself. You don't know what you need. You don't know what you want. And I don't think a lot of guys have taken time to actually really know what they want because a lot of guys have never thought it was even possible
Yep.
that that the plight was hopeless, that this would never happen, and especially not happen this fast. So
Yep.
I think they're in shock. Like they're really asking what we want. They're really talking to us. They're really trying to find out how to compete for us. And I think most guys don't know how to feel about that because they've been used to so long for with their guards up, trying to deflect blows.
I also want to shout out Nobody with the Cash App. Bro, I appreciate it greatly. I don't always say the amount, but bro, that's probably the biggest Cash App I've ever gotten. And it's
Okay,
not a
cool.
lot, but it's just at the same time, like, that's a whole lot. So I appreciate that, man. I really do. That's Yeah. I'll find a stripper in need for that. Um, feels like I'm watching Split.
Split.
Oh, feels like I'm watching, yeah, split screen. Yeah, I'm kind of splitting the screen, showing off a
Okay.
little bit of this automated mowing project.
Okay.
Um, But no, back to what you were saying, BGS. Yeah, a lot of guys don't know how to process what's happening to them, or or what's happening in the environment, and it's nowhere near where we need it to be,
Hmm.
especially as the MGTOW hardliners from the coming out of 1.0 and getting, and I came in at the beginning of 2.0, and but seeing the 1.0 giants before me, the for the shoulders that I stand upon, and it's
Hmm.
like, no, we're not where we need to be. A lot of people think we've done something, and it's just like, no, we're just getting started with this shit in terms of what we're teaching men and how we're reaching out to people. So I think that's like super important, and I think I hope we can actually do what's necessary. um what's it called, do what's necessary, but do what's necessary to address our grievances, but then also get to a point, not just addressing our grievances, but further and or long lasting peace and content.
Hmm.
And that was a very important word that you said to me a while back. Just being content, like
Yeah,
it's very
yeah. That's part of being going through mini monkhood, right? Because I think when you're not going through it, you want to be happy, right? You look for happiness, and happiness is always fleeting, right? It's happy. You know, you can be happiness has levels to it, right? So it's like a drug, right? You get the first hit, I'm happy, and then get the same amount of happiness. You got to go beyond that and beyond that, beyond that. But if you're content, right? If you just search for contentment and being content and being balanced and being content, that's a constant level. And and uh, and I think in our especially in our society we haven't learned the joy of contentment. Um, Not having to have the fastest car or the baddest bitch or being in a strip club or having a threesome or whatever that that's all cool. But the thing is, um, that should actually fit into your range of contentment. You have bumps here or there where you're doing a little bit more here or there, but the thing is, how do you make your happiness or your contentment a constant in your life? In other words, no matter what I do every day, whether I do a lot or I do a little or I do nothing, right? I'm going to be contented and happy with myself. And that's something that's hard to learn sometimes.
and that's like, I'm tearing up, man, because um that even on my birthdays, man, like my last birthday, I just turned off my phone and just like,
Hmm.
I just turned off my phone, and I just enjoyed where I was at. I was in my sunroom here, and it was like, you know 12 on the dot, November 20th,
Okay.
and I turned off everything and left a little message like, listen, I know you're wishing me happy birthday, but I wish you peace, love, respect, and whatever,
Hmm.
And I just looked around. I looked at the weight set that I have in here. I looked at
Hmm.
the sofa that I'm on. I looked at my
Hmm.
cryptocurrency portfolio. I looked the fact that I have a damn lake, and I have a home, and I
Hmm.
have my little art installation over here. I looked at everything, and I
Hmm.
looked at even the fact that I don't even have proper floors in this house yet. You know,
Okay.
I looked at, oh my God, like I just got a job, one job that's paying me six figures, as opposed to
Okay.
having two or three in businesses and all this other stuff.
Okay.
And I just cried, bro. And like I
Hmm.
just and I felt, I felt happy, but then I also felt like content, because it was like, whoa, I felt the progress in just
Yeah.
even a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. That's important, right? And then even just me just tearing up, like I don't think anybody would, but it's just like, being okay, being man enough to be like, not even man enough, but being strong enough in that to say like, yeah, this is how I feel.
Hmm.
This is the emotion that I have, not how
Right.
I think. This is how I feel
Hmm.
right now. Yeah, that's powerful, man. And being content, not just happy, not sad, but
Hmm.
like, yo, this is my home, and
Right.
it's warm and
This
it's cozy.
it was my home. This is my life that I built. The home is just part of it.
Right.
and I'm happy with the way I've organized my life to where I'm happy with it. You know,
Right.
I'm content with it, and I'm content. Doing my daily life. I'm content with what I do. I'm content with what I have. I'm content with where I am, and it's not. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
Yeah. And who I am. I
And
don't
who
know
I
if you
am.
mentioned that, but you're
Yeah.
content, being content with who you are as a person.
Right.
And that's not saying be stagnant and be like, okay, this is it. No more progress. Hey, you're good. Mission complete. You know,
Hmm.
but it's more or less like saying, um, I can go either way and I'll be okay.
Right. Right. So if you decide a project or a mission or something like that, and it succeeds, you're fine. And if it doesn't, hey, okay, well, I did it because I wanted to do it, and it didn't work out. I'm going to do something else. No
Right.
big deal.
Right. Like even the email I sent you this weekend about what
Hmm.
happened over this weekend.
Hmm.
Um, I felt a ways about it, but then I didn't feel the same level of like, damn, this was an L. This was a failure.
Hmm.
Um, this what it didn't hit me the same way. It wasn't as heavy. It was
Hmm.
understood. It was not indifference, but it wasn't anger. It wasn't too much to either side. It was
No.
just it is what it is.
Yeah. It wasn't for me. That's really what it
Yeah,
was. You go down there, okay, it's an opportunity, see if it's for me, and you check it out. It's not for me, and no harm, no foul. You know.
right, right. Yeah, and then also like not having malice to the other person. Like, oh, listen,
Hmm.
man, not even trying to like do things to say like I want to hurt you because it didn't work out the way I expected or planned it to, you know. And I think that's what's important for men, where reclaiming, as I said, emotions. I think that's what's important. Man,
Yeah.
I know how that feels. Yeah, reclaiming emotions and um, putting yourself in a position to where you can actually be okay with a lot of these things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 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 That's really what contentment is. Detachment and difference is, not completed indifference, but uh, detachment. The Buddhists called it balance.
Yes, yes, indeed. In balance,
Mm.
balance. Yes,
Hmm. Balance, and that's what I'm saying is, and sometimes if you can get too far with it, babe, where you can't uh, completely enjoy the experience that you're in, something that really makes you happy. How do you break out of that balance and actually enjoy that peak, and fully, or even shorten because you're gonna have a down. I don't care how much you try to be content. There's gonna be something that's gonna bring you down. How do you
yeah,
bring yourself back into balance? How do
yeah,
you
and also
when
like
you
even
quit?
the quickness of the leveling out.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my god,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. Basically, it said, okay, yeah, it's a bad beat, and it's bad that it happened. And let me know, can I put it in perspective and get back into balance?
And what's also important is the conversations and talking about it, talking
Mm,
to a friend on one, talking to yourself within your
mm-hmm,
own head, talking to a friend, and even talking to another friend, and then even talking like even to you, not so much about it, but like in general about situations and scenarios. It's like a lot of men don't have these outlets to talk, and or even comment sections to make comments, or a place to say, "Hey, listen, man, I feel the same way you do." And another person actually understands it, just like my brother Miguel here. Miguel's a
mm-hmm,
former Izaz, I should say, is a former coworker of mine, and
mm.
we've talked in so many different ways. Miguel, when that building comes up, man, I expect you to be up here so you can help me set up the gun range out the back of that motherfucker, man. I got to get some like the metal plates and stuff. I
Oh
think it's like
shit.
$200, so I can start like making them the suckers ring. So, but I got like 7 acres back there, man. So like a bullet's gonna hit a tree before it hits a person. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
But yeah, man. Miguel says, man, I know how that feels, and like I think he's talking about like the progress hitting you, and then also just also being content in any which way that you go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So it's a lot of men don't they haven't reached that point, and being a person that learned from 1.0 but came up in 2.0, um, I I've always been along the side of MGTOW philosophy or ideology of understanding myself and understanding women,
Mm-hmm.
myself more so.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't see, or they haven't done that. They haven't done that work.
Well, the thing is that the red pill's not meant for everybody, and if everybody, all men became red pill, what would happen to society?
Yeah, yeah, it would skew in such a way to where you would also have like a blue pill, like what is it called, like the Irish Spring or something like that, or forgot what
Mm.
that movement was, something spring,
Oh, Arab Spring.
the Arab Spring, like you would have
Right.
a blue pill spring.
You probably would. You probably have to. You would eventually have to remake the Matrix because everybody can't survive outside the Matrix. The Matrix has to be rebuilt. Uh,
Right.
Sort of like
Yeah.
what happened to what is the third Matrix when Agent Smith destroyed it. It had to be
Yeah.
rebuilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Miguel says, or a safe zone to be able to talk about things that are emotionally important. And yeah, and that's true, man. Like you don't, I know Miguel talks about this. Miguel also has a podcast and he does
Hmm.
streaming as well. I know you have a podcast, Miguel. Go ahead and plug that in there and put your link to like one of your episodes so people can go and view that. I'm not exactly sure what you talk about. I know you talk with your friends and everything like that, but I'm sure you talk about kind of everything. But Miguel has great production value, by the way, like freaking amazing on his streams. And I see you guys, the environment that you have where you're just sitting around on a couch and you guys are just talking. It's just that wide angle of you and your friends and stuff like that. I think cousins and so on and so forth. And that's beautiful because it's like when I saw that, like the image, I was just like, whoa, this is really cool because you have that space, that zone where you're talking to other people. And it's even stronger when you're I try. Yeah, no, your shit is that's past trying. You're doing. It's even stronger when those people are in front of you and not just
Hmm.
online. Can't wait. I can't wait for the range. Yeah, bro. Yeah, the range is gonna be great when I get it, bro. Like when I get it all together. Got to chop down some trees back there. But yeah, the BGS. I know we can go on for hours on this stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming up and talking to me about this, man. You've always been an important person to me. I always talk
Oh, I
about you
appreciate that.
offline.
I appreciate that.
Nah, man, I really do appreciate you and like everything that you've done for this space. Um, a lot of people, not to like boast or anything, but like the man behind people like Kevin Samuels in a sense. Not
Hmm.
saying you made the man,
No.
but
Yeah.
just the things that you've done to influence him and how that has also gone further to influence the greater society now.
Yeah.
you know like his name is in certain people's mouths on music, of big stars, female stars. And yeah, you're definitely one of the driving forces behind that, especially even with the academics and other people, and all the people in this space such as Angry Man, Edward Anderson, now Black Ram
Mm.
313, Kendra, people, other people that I listen to. A lot of the stuff that I hear people talking about, it's just like, bro, I know the person that, not that it came from, but also helped spark that in other people. So I appreciate you greatly, bro.
Oh man,
Yes,
we
sir.
I couldn't do it without people like you, man. It,
Thanks, man.
it takes us all, and we're all here to make an impact. My reason I'm here is not to make money, is to make an impact because I never tried to make a name. I always thought my channel would be small, and
Yeah,
I'd be that little guy in the corner, just putting out little info that other people can take away from and steal and use it for themselves, and
right.
these ideas that to propagate. That's what I really wanted. But it is what it is. The flow goes where it flows. But the thing is, that's why I talk about the space, right? Because a lot of people say, well, the space is collapsing and it's changing, and these people are coming in and women are coming in. I said, what do you want, man? You wanted to be heard. I said, now you're heard. The thing is, you have to think about what are you going to say, what are you going to represent, because now this is your chance. You wanted a chance, now you have it.
Yeah, like so many people will complain and talk about it, and it's just like, all right, cool. Like, it's kind of one of those, like, the spotlight's on you now. Like, like, it's not on me, it's on you now. Like, how does that work? It occurred refreshing the page. Yeah, it's like, how does that work? Block user. Okay. Anyways, how does that work? And a lot of people aren't ready for that. Ready for that mainstream attention. They A lot of people aren't ready. They don't know what to do with attention. Period.
Yeah, yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. Because I remember Barbar and Stardust wanted to keep it tight. They really wanted MGTOW and this kind of red pill stuff to be part of a secret society.
Yeah.
But you want the world to change. Okay, you can't have those two things. Okay, if you want to keep it close and just pass the information amongst yourselves, or do you want the world to change?
And yeah,
And I always thought MGTOW was about changing, changing the environment. That's what I thought it was about.
yeah. I mean, especially the early days, but it's like, yeah, there was a deviation in that. Now that you speak
Mm,
about it,
mm-hmm.
and that's why there's so many. I remember Angry Man used to be like, "Yo, what's the definition of this?" And it was like, it was a loose. I remember in a hangout we had, it was like, "Yo, listen, it's a loose ideology.
Mm-hmm.
There's different sects within it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's mainly because a lot of the guys just did not know what they wanted."
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
yeah, and you started to see that with the fact that there is such a loose ideology. A lot of people just didn't understand that. There's my nephew, Ice Money. Yeah, it's crazy because my nephew, it's
Mm-hmm.
funny. My nephew out of nowhere one day sent me a text message that said SYSBM. And I said,
Whoa.
"Oh, so
Okay.
you have chosen your path." And it was crazy because I never had him listen to SYSBM content, but he used to listen to you back when he lived with me and I was helping raising him.
Oh, really?
And yeah, like I used to have him listen to, and he used to ask me questions. Like we would cook. It would be
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe a Friday night, and I take that time to spend with him because my dad used to do that with me,
Okay.
and we would cook, or it'd be an off night, and like, he wasn't playing video games or anything like that, but it was a time that we spent together, and we would cook together, and like I'd have you on my sound system, and it'll just
Mm-hmm.
be me and him in the house, and we just listen to you while cleaning up or doing something else. And years later, this guy's in the army now, um, 20 years old now, and
Wow.
he
Okay.
and this was back in this had to be back in 2018, 20, yeah, no, 27, yeah, this had to be back in 2017 as well,
Mm-hmm.
because I still had him here at the yeah, it was a while back because he was living with us for 4 years, but we would listen to your content and other videos, and just soak in the game, and he would ask questions, and it was crazy, and then now full circle, or further on, this sucker's talking about SYSBM, and it's just like, all right, you know, and that was one of the things that you talked about, that I mentioned to you in an email,
Mm-hmm.
was crazy seeing a lot of these things come to fruition, and that's one
Right.
of the things. Women
Right.
coming back to the table, for one reason or another, and then also like even people like my nephew talking to me about these things.
Mm-hmm.
He's speaking facts. Love you. Yeah, yeah. Like you don't. I don't know if you totally remember it, Armani, but like this was the one of the guys that I used to listen to, and then he would be playing video games like 2K, like basketball,
Right.
NBA 2K,
Okay.
and he would be listening. I'd have this on the loudspeaker listening to it, and he'd be
Mm-hmm.
listening too. It'd be stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, when you get out there and actually apply the stuff, or actually, you can actually see it if you know about it, you can actually see it. You can actually see it in front of you and said, okay, okay, this is what they're talking about, okay, and this is what I need to look out for. So you're actually forewarned before you actually really get there. And that's the whole thing about talking about this stuff and actually laying out principles, or laying out the principles as I found them over the past 40, 50 years that I had to go through.
Yep.
So I'm just telling you, I'm just a little further down the road. I'm saying, okay, when you get to that fork, man, don't go left. Okay, go
Yeah.
left. Okay, I went left, and it took me a long time to circle back and come back. So don't go left when you get to that fork.
Listen, I keep saying bye, but this is hopefully the last. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? But I was talking to my nephew and his friend in a group chat that we have, and I said, I'm just here to help you. I'm just here to help you guys connect dots or
Mm-hmm.
move you along faster.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be to the point where you have men or your predecessors reaching back, almost like if you would look at if you, a representation of it that we can see in movies is the Black Panther and him
Right.
going to I
The
forgot what is that space.
oh the ancestral realm.
Yeah, the ancestral realm to
Mm-hmm.
see the previous Black Panthers, but to
Mm-hmm.
see that in the form of an uncle, a father, an older friend, an OG. If you're in like a group or a gang or something like that, they're
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are supposed to help you connect the dots because they already seen a lot of this stuff and they already see that hey, listen, this is cyclical. This happens. This happened to me. This happened to a friend. I'm here to make you help you connect dots and allow you to move faster and more efficiently through it if you're willing to listen, I can help you do that. And that's how I approach like, talking with people, my nephew included, and any other people that I help. And some people don't understand that because it's like eh, they we're not socialized to see that a lot of times. We're socialized to be the the independent person.
Right. No, we
So
are, and we're socialized to fit into the matrix, or we think that we're independent, but we're not. We're taught to be the little bitty cog that doesn't is not aware of the all the other cogs that are around it. That's where we're taught because
yeah,
that keeps you fit into that slot because you think you're alone and you're not.
yeah, yeah. Like even it's kind of crazy, and it's I forgot what the word is, but it's a bit of ironic, I guess. I don't know. It's a juxtaposition of itself, but
Mm-hmm.
a group of individuals,
Yeah,
and you're seeing that. You're seeing a group of rugged individuals, and it's just like and then it's like there's you don't even see the like for some of them, it's like you can tell them that's what's happening, and they won't even
mm,
see it.
right. No, I'm by myself. No, what about all those guys next to you? Okay, they don't count. They're not there.
Right. Or all the guys that you were on a panel with, other rugged individuals. And it's like, wow, it's crazy. It's crazy to see a group of rugged individuals. I understand it. The thing is, I actually understand the mindset and the reason
Yeah,
why you would say that.
yeah,
But it's also like there is groups within individuals, like or individual groupings. I don't know how you would say it, but
yeah,
it doesn't make sense. But it totally makes sense when you're looking at a complex organism such as a human, the human and the human mind.
yeah. Yeah, and how you're taught, 'cause some groups socialize to where they can't, like the Chinese, they can't. Very difficult for them to think of themselves as individuals because
Right.
they're socialized to think of themselves as part of a whole.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and then and also like you're just a hive mentality, if you will, in some cases, right? Like like we all work together for more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ice Money says, always spitting game, eternal respect for Mike. Y'all have a good stream. All right, man. Love you, bro. Love you with all my heart, man. All right. With that, I will close it out. BGS, thank you so much for
All
joining
right,
me. I
Doc.
appreciate that.
Appreciate you as always, man. Jumped on to give support,
Yeah,
and
man.
haven't hollered at you in a while. So,
Yeah, I need to get on some of these. I'm trying to get back out there with some panels and stuff too as well.
you got to come off the mountain every now and then, man.
Come out of the cave.
Yeah, you come out of the cave, man, every now and then. I know you're in there coding and you're doing your thing. You're in the cave, but
Yeah,
every now and then you got to get out of the cave.
yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the stream. I appreciate you guys greatly. As always, nothing but love and just peace and respect. All right, peace.
All right, we out. Peace.